Hi everybody, this is Seth Weissman and welcome to another episode of Safe Real Estate. Today we're going to continue to talk about some of the more important changes made to the 2022 GAR forms. And this one relates to the binding agreement date. For 2022, one of the things we clarified is that the binding agreement date can be filled in by the buyer, the seller, or by any of the real estate agents working with those parties. Anybody can fill it in so long as they do it accurately and correctly. And another major change in the 2022 forms is for the first time we have included a procedure where a party can object to the binding agreement date. And most importantly, if you do not object within 1 day of receiving back an accepted offer, you waive any and all objections to that date filled in being the binding agreement date. So let's say the binding agreement date should be on a Sunday, but it's actually been filled in as Monday or Saturday, and you want to go ahead and object. What do? All you do is send a notice to the other party saying, I object to the binding agreement date. You filled it in incorrectly, and here is why. And if you register that complaint, it really then triggers a process where the parties should be talking to one another and hopefully agreeing on the right binding agreement date, which you would then add into the contract by an amendment confirming the correct binding agreement date. And hopefully that circumstance will not arise often, but you now need to do that in a timely way. And it's really one where if you don't speak up, you're stuck with the binding agreement date set forth in the contract itself. So what I want to urge everyone to do when you get back an accepted offer, the first thing you and your client should be doing is looking at the binding agreement date and making sure it is accurate. And if it is not, you want to go ahead and object immediately. Now, let's say for some reason the parties just can't agree, which should hopefully never happen, because all you're really doing with the binding agreement date is setting out, here's when the time clocks in the contract begin. And frankly, even if it's the wrong date, it's not really that big a deal. But what we have said is if you can't agree, there is still a contract between the parties, with the only issue to be resolved being when is the correct binding agreement date. And I guess the parties would have to litigate that issue if they couldn't otherwise resolve it. But again, in closing, there is now a procedure to object to the binding agreement date if it is wrong. You need to do that right away or forever hold your tongue. As always, it's great to see everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful 2022. Please continue to tune in to these videos. Bye now.